Afya Yetu show. My name is Chemutai Kirui, and remember, before we went for the break, I mentioned to you that we have been discussing bipolar disorder, and of course we are so much privileged. You know, our viewers, we love you so much because we bring you people who are so much experienced. And you know, tonight we have Dr. Harriet Wambui, who is a psychologist, and she has been telling us how bipolar disorder begins in our bodies, you know, how it goes, and the three major types of bipolar disorder, their signs and their symptoms. But now we are going to discuss how this bipolar disorder can be managed. It can be treated. Like she said earlier, this is something that can be treated, and it is something, of course, that you have some procedures to managing it, otherwise it will relapse. And you know, of course, when something relapses, it's always going to take you to another episode that you might even get to be rehabilitated, which something that most people, we do not normally like. We just want to be given some tablets and get released, and then we go just do that away from the hospital, do it from at home. And of course, we are also going to talk about how this bipolar disorder affects our relationship with our family members, our work colleagues, and of course with everyone else in the society, because you know, someone who is bipolar is not going to relate the same way that a normal person would, but someone who is bipolar and is under medication can, or of course, is able to relate the same way that a normal person is. So of course, Dr. Welcome back to our show.
Thank you.
Yeah, and before we went on the break, remember we promised our viewers that we are going to tell them, of course, what I have just said. And just to begin with, what are some of the earliest signs that, you know, family members or maybe someone who cares should be able to look out for, if to maybe identify that someone might be bipolar before they go for medication?
Okay, thank you, Chemutai. So sometimes, you know, a person who have bipolar, we might think that they are arrogant, of which they are not arrogant. It's just that, you know, with bipolar comes with changes, behavior changes, mood changes, shift in energy. So the signs that, you know, family members, colleagues should be able to look out is, first is change in mood. Some mood, meaning that it have changed, you know, nimekuwa sad for a whole week, siku zikifuatana, and it is something new, something that has not been happening. Maybe nimekuwa restless kazini, and it has not just happened for a day. It's something yenye imekuwa frequent. Maybe my behavior have changed. Nilikuwa nataka kukaa na watu, nowadays I want to stay alone.
You are less talkative.
Yes,
less
I'm less talkative. I'm more talkative. Remember, for mania we say it is extreme of everything. So if it's talking, it's extreme talkativeness. If it is mood changes, it is extreme. So I might be, my behavior, my energy, my mood might be at the extreme, or it might be at the lowest. Remember, for depression it's the lowest, and for mania it's the highest. Then for hypomania ni katikati. So like, we might not realize that there is a problem unless we are very observant and we have stayed with this person such that we know them and we know how they behave,
and then we'll know when there'll be changes.
Yes, so we'll be able to identify when there are changes. So what I would say is that we must be very keen, because if we're not keen, we will not be able to identify these issues. We might think they are just normal. And you know, for someone who have this condition, they think it's just normal kwa wao. So we are the one to identify. If I am sick, you know, mimi nitasema mimi niko sawa, and actually no one anakubalingi that they are sick.
Yeah, of course.
No one accepts that they are sick. So we as the family, we as the colleagues, we as the community are the one to identify these changes and suggest to this person that, you know, I have noticed that you are not your normal self. There has been changes in 1, 2, 3. We should go to the hospital, and the doctor can advise us more. So we are the one to initiate. We talk to this person, we suggest to them about seeking help, about, seeing a doctor, because it's very rare for someone to identify that they are sick and go to hospital.
Okay, thank you so much. And now when it comes to how the relationship between a bipolar person and their family members, their co-workers, or just anyone else, how does bipolar disorder, of course, affect these kinds of relationships, the partners, children, and the wider family?
Okay, thank you. So when someone have this episode, and they are not on their medications, like we said, they'll be either in the extreme or they will be in their rose. So at work, people might think that this person is rude, without realizing that there is an issue, there is a problem.
Yeah,
they might think that this person is arrogant, this person does not want to work because they are moving from one office to another.
Or maybe from one mood to another. All of a sudden they want to work, and then maybe the next minute
they don't want to work. There is no energy. So if we really don't know this person, we will think that maybe they wanna pretend, they are pretending. If it is work productivity inakuwa affected. Yes, so someone is talking too much pale kazini, someone is maybe rude to the client, someone is overspending, someone is not settled, they are restless. Someone might talk to you in a manner that it seems rude. When they are in depressive episode, they might want to stay alone, they don't want to associate, to interact with others. They might, most of the times maybe wanasinzia kazini because they didn't sleep. They cannot concentrate pale kazini. You can see their energy levels ziko chini, like they feel fatigued. Like hata hawa concentrate, mtu hata maybe hana appetite ya kukula. Maybe they are like their mood, unaweza angalia their face, they look sad, there is no happiness. Yes, so people behave differently depending on which episode they are in. So we are the one to identify this. And remember, before we took a break, I said that bipolar mood disorder is manageable, and someone can live a normal life, be productive at work, and even thrive. We have seen people, some are teachers, some are doctors, some are police. And the good thing about this mental health condition is that it does not choose. It does not choose whether you are a doctor. It does not choose whether you are rich, whether you are poor. It affects everyone. And as I said, you can be able to work and thrive at your workplace as long as you follow the doctor's instructions. You come for your clinic, you come for your reviews, you take your medication, you attend session, that is counseling, because with counseling, it will help you identify the root cause of this problem. What are my triggers? The psychologist will educate you and help you understand what are your triggers, will help you identify which are the triggers that maybe makes me have a relapse. Maybe it is not taking medication, maybe it is anger issues, maybe it is financial issues, so that if it is something that you can be able to manage, you manage. Medication alone,
manage it,
medication alone, it cannot work. Like we say, families are actually in mental health, we say that we can give you all the expensive medications, but if you don't know about your triggers, you have no family support, will be like doing zero work, because after hospital you'll be going back to the community, you'll be going back to the family. So this family needs to understand and know what are this person's trigger, so that they can be able to help you manage them and avoid triggering you, avoid saying things that might trigger you. Be able to tell you that your medications zinakaribia kuisha. We should go to the hospital. We should go seek these services. So family support is very important. It helps a person see, like, you know, when we have this condition, sometimes we feel like we are a burden to our family.
Yeah, true.
But if my family is there for me, I will feel that I'm not a burden, and I will have motivation, you know, to continue living, to continue taking medication, because I know that I matter and there is someone who cares for me. Yes.
And of course, the family, of course, will be able again to encourage you, you know, when you are avoiding your triggers, or maybe when you are learning to manage your triggers, because of course there are triggers that can be managed. Like you talked about maybe a financial problem becoming a trigger to someone relapsing. Then that means this is something that you cannot entirely avoid all your life. But you can be able to manage how you maybe plan your funds ahead, to make sure that you do not go into the depressed mode of, you know, maybe lacking funds and the bipolar disorder relapsing. So these are something that the family, of course, is going to help you build step by step and walk them through the journey. But again, Daktari, there are some unhealthy behaviors, of course, that the family will have to tolerate but when it comes to someone who is bipolar. Of course, we talked about, you know, someone just talking. Maybe in an environment where there are children. Of course, we cannot tolerate someone, a grown-up, an adult, akiongea tu maneno yenye maybe hata haifai mbele ya watoto. Maybe they are abusive sometimes, or maybe they are just so vulgar sometimes because they cannot control their mood at that moment. How can the family now be able to make sure that they balance, you know, these healthy behaviors for the bipolar person and for the rest of the family who maybe cannot tolerate that kind of a thing?
Okay, as we said, if you stay with me, you'll be able to identify when there is changes. And even this person who have bipolar mood disorder, with time they'll be able to identify when they are almost relapsing, and actually most of them come to the hospital. If I have stayed with bipolar maybe for 2 years, najua that naanza kufeel that my mood changes, kumekuwa na mood changes, kumekuwa na behavior changes, and before it becomes worse, before it become a full-blown mania, I'm able to go to hospital. The same with the family, they will be able to realize ni kama kumeanza kukuwa na changes, and they will be able to take this person to the hospital. So in the hospital, they will be given medications that is going to calm them down, that is going to make them, you know, behave like a normal person. Remember, when someone is on medications, you cannot tell that they have this condition. The only difference comes in when someone, you know, stops taking their medications. That's when there is a relapse. But if there is good family support, they take their medication and the community is supportive, this person can live, you know, their normal life. And it might take a very long period of time before they get a relapse. And even if they get a relapse, it's not severe. It's something that can be managed at home with just medications, the normal medication. But now when it is now it is the manic episode that cannot be controlled at home, they have to be admitted. Because at this case, maybe they are violent, they are vulgar, as you said. So they need monitoring at the hospital. But as long as someone takes their medication, the family is able to identify when someone is having a relapse and they take them to hospital. Mtu anakuwa tu kama mtu wa kawaida.
Yeah, thank you so much. And now, Daktari, coming to all these types of approaches to treatment, now, do you think therapy, lifestyle changes, and of course social support have a role to play when it comes to maybe just beyond medication? There are these other things that maybe you as a psychologist, or maybe you as a person who have had experience with maybe this kind of bipolar people, do you think that therapy, lifestyle changes, and social support, do they have a role to play?
Yeah, they play a big role. the social interactions, you know, how we behave, how we interact with others, how we interact with colleagues, family members, plays a big role. Me being able to understand that, you know, sometimes people can make me angry, and this anger does not have to escalate. Me realizing that we all have our own weaknesses, and not letting these weaknesses of my colleague trigger me. And therapy helps this person to be able to identify first their triggers, to be able to identify their support system, to be able to identify if I have mood changes, if I have anger issues, this is how I'm going to cope with them. Because again, as we said, anger issues can be a trigger to bipolar, to many mental health conditions. So with therapy, it teaches this person, you know, to identify their triggers, how to manage and how to cope with all these issues that they are going through. Help them to identify the root cause of their issues, so that they can be able to control it and manage it. And social relationship, from the support from the family, support from the colleagues, makes someone feel loved, makes someone feel appreciated, makes someone feel seen. And if I feel seen, at least it improves my mood, it makes me happy. And when I am, you know, when my mood is okay, you know, it will be very rare for me to have a relapse.
Yeah. Okay. And now, Daktari, when someone has come to you seeking for this help, maybe to get away from bipolar disorders, how can you be able to identify that maybe this kind of person, huyu medication itamsaidia, or maybe this one, medication and therapy and, you know, some lifestyle changes can be able to help them? How can you be able to identify those ones as an experienced person?
Okay, thank you, Chemutai, for the question. We have, as we said, and there are different episodes. So depending on the severity of the episode is when the psychiatrist decides whether to give medication. If someone is experiencing a mania where they are violent, where maybe they have suicidal thoughts, they have to be put in hospital, admitted, then they stabilize. So they'll be given medication. When someone is experiencing a major depressive episode, they'll be admitted in the hospital, getting medication. All types of bipolar, when someone is going through all this episode, they take medication plus psychotherapy, counseling. Because if I have this, I need someone to help me identify my triggers. I need someone to guide me to identify my support system. So if I have mania, if I have depression, I will need medication and I will need a psychologist. So the psychiatrist will be able to prescribe the medications and also tell you as a person that you will need to be seen by a psychologist. So the psychiatrist is the one to initiate. So the psychiatrist will tell this person that you will be on these medications, you'll be coming for clinic every month, and as you come to see me, you'll also be seen by a psychologist to help you understand what is bipolar, to help you understand more how it affects you and how you can relate well with your colleagues.
Yeah, thank you so much, Daktari. And now, because time is really moving so fast, maybe we shall just wind up. Maybe you give us the message that you would like to leave for the families watching us tonight on AFYA YETU, who may be living with someone who has been affected by the bipolar disorder, but do not yet understand really quite on what they are dealing with. What message would you leave for them?
Okay, I will tell our viewers that let us be our brothers and sisters keeper. Be able to observe and know that person that you are living with. Be able to tell that there is a change. You know, no one will come from elsewhere to tell you that your spouse amebadilika. You are the one to identify that your spouse amebadilika. Kumekuwa na mood changes. And if we are not able to identify earlier, you know, even treatment takes long before someone stabilizes.
Yeah.
So let us be our brother's keeper. Let's practice the health-seeking behavior. Let's promote mental wellness. Let's promote mental health. Let mental health conversation be normal. You know, we should not take mental health conversation as abnormal. Let's normalize talking about mental health in our chamas, in our churches, you know, for people, you know, with talking about mental health helps reduce the stigma. Because most people, the reason as to why they don't go to hospital is because of the stigma. Nikienda hospitalini nikiambiwa I have mental health condition, how will my colleagues see me? How will my family see me? And by the time we are going to the hospital, nile wakati yenye umefika mwisho, umeanza kupigana, umeanza kuongea vitu zenye hazieleweki. So let's practice health seeking behavior and let's visit hospitals. We have a mental and rehabilitation center called Oasis Specialist Mental and Rehabilitation Center. We are offering mental health conditions. We are offering mental health services and rehabilitation services. We are accredited by NACADA. We are accredited by Self-Care Level 5, meaning that, you know, all the standard, we offer high quality standards of services. You can be seen by a psychiatrist, occupational therapist, speech therapist. You would be seen by a nutritionist, a psychologist, like all the things that happens in a mental and rehabilitation center are available there. So our people, let's not die with our issues. Let's practice healthy seeking behaviors. Let's go for counseling. Let's go to hospitals. Tusigoje a point where imefika mwisho ama imefika kiwango kingine ndo tunaenda hospitalini. Let's go for wellness checkup, and through this wellness checkup is when we'll be able to identify that there is a problem and we will get assistance. Yeah. So we are located at Hospital Road near KMTC. You are welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hari. And of course, I'm happy that now at least you have a whole package for someone. At least if someone is just bipolar, of course you have the entire team looking out for them. And you know, this is very important because people need to make sure that they feel seen and they are important, and everyone wants to make sure that everyone is all right every other time. And just because time is moving on, maybe I can wind up by saying that this is something that, of course, you as a person can be able to identify when your moods are switching maybe to your extremes, of course, because we have not just the normal mood swings, but these are going to the extremes, either to the other end of being positive or to the end of being so negative that you just don't want to do anything. So these are things that we should look out for in our day-to-day life. And remember, we said that they should be persistent. At least you should be able to observe all these changes for up to even 2 weeks, or even more than 2 weeks, between 4 days and 2 weeks, and then maybe you can go seeking medical attention. And of course, Dr. Harriet Wambui here has told us especially where to go to, and I just hope that everyone who is maybe do not understand what they are going through right now can be able to, for the next maybe 1 week, be able to observe your body changes, your hormonal changes, no, not your hormonal changes, but your mood changes, and maybe understand what is really happening to you. And now we have come to the end of our AFYA YETU Health program tonight. My name is Chemutai Kirui, and we have been privileged to have Dr. Harriet Wambui from Oasis Specialist Mental Health and Rehabilitation Center. And of course, that is how we put a comma or a full stop to our show tonight. But also remember to join us in our news bulletin, the Friday Wave, in the next 5 minutes. My name is Chemutai Kirui, and have a good night.